think the key thing is that from the time of the Industrial Revolution, play was separated from work. And now we're trying to be creative at work, but the elements of creativity are rooted in play. And until we are open about playing at work, because if you look at the things that make innovation work, what we've been saying, it's risky, you have to accept failure and so on. Things that, if in play, we do instinctively, we have excluded from the workplace, and we need to reintegrate play back into work in order to create a culture that sort of sustainably enables innovation. And that's why, prior to it being called innovation, it was called art, not crafts.
One of the things that we, just to follow up on that question,
Good point, doesn't it?
100 years ago, if you look at, I help companies decide, teams that they built, and much to what you were saying, I did 5 hours of psychometric testing once. 5 hours of psychometric testing in one sitting for a certain company, and ended up telling me that innovation, I should do somewhere else. Einstein or Edison? Einstein was divergent thinking. So before it was innovation, it was just different ways of getting somewhere. Edison was convergent thinking. So he looked at 1,000 different. He says, I didn't fail. I just found 1,000 different ways that it didn't work. There was a way of focusing. So it wasn't innovation, but it was a way. And there was one way of just focusing by experimentation and going over and over and over until they got what they thought they wanted in the first place. And then there was a divergent way of doing it, which was just, we get to an idea and then we look at 4 different ways and ask more questions. So I don't know if it had a name, but there was definitely different ways of doing it. And the way that won, for a long time, seemed to be this kind of convergent way of doing things. And then suddenly, somewhere, they got a chance to look at it a different way.
I think innovation was called muse before, because really we're looking to get those insights from our muses, and they're different now. They might be, something that's related to your external stakeholder, your customer or whatever, but it's somebody who can really give you a deep insight, but also look at it, like you were saying, look at things from a different perspective. Because we don't often flip things on their head or go off at a tangent. But when you do, that's when you get the insights, and that's when you have the eureka moments and everything often. And obviously the permission to fail, the opportunity to get that inspiration, these are all these things. But I think having a muse was probably what innovation was.
I've got to pick that up because that's so interesting. I don't know if you saw the piece by Stephen Johnson in the Financial Times at the weekend, writing about Ada Lovelace, who was the daughter of Lord Byron, the famous, brilliant poet who